have a problem with Mexicans. I don't. I have a problem with Sureños, and my specific problem is that they're allies of Aryan Nation.
Right. Yeah. Well,
That's my
especially in the prisons, aren't they? They link up together.
yes, and that is my problem. And other than that, I don't have a problem with them. But anybody who's linked with Aryan Nation is an enemy of mine.
Right.
We are not cool at all, and that's my issue. That's why people think I have a problem with Mexicans. I don't. I have a problem with racism and racist Mexicans. And you can't say brown pride and you not racist, and then you go to prison and you chill with white Nazis.
Right.
And you can't call politics. I don't give a fuck about politics. Break that shit.
Right.
Because in New York, we don't have any of that. New York prison, there's no racism. Racism does not exist. There's no Aryan Nation. There's no BGF. There's no none of that shit. Like that shit does not exist. There's whoever you a gang of, that's who
That's
you
who
are.
you're part of.
Yeah, you blood, you Crip, you Latin King, you Nieta, or there's a lot of motherfuckers in New York that just by themselves. They from Brooklyn or they from Queens or they're not by themselves per se, but they're not banging a gang, but they're gonna be with a bunch of dudes from their town. Like Brooklyn's always been strong. Like you go to prison, there's gonna be 100 motherfuckers from Brooklyn in that prison.
Right.
So if you're from Brooklyn, you're gonna link with them, and that's kind of how it is.
On the
But
East Coast, in the East Coast for the prisons, the Puerto Ricans kind of ran it, huh?
at one time,
One time.
Puerto Ricans ran shit. Now it's Bloods.
Was.
It used to be Hispanics back in the day, and the reason why that was because the blacks did not have a specific group to stick to.
Right.
So they were like shattered all over the place. You had the Bronx and you had Brooklyn and you had Harlem, but they weren't really holding each other down. So when they created Bloods, all the blacks they came under this gang under Bloods, and that shit was a dominant force. I'm Crip, and I'll tell you that shit was some shit to see. Like
Right.
they were a dominant force that built like wildfire. Like it was just insane. And now they're the dominant gang in prison by far. But we're at a time now to where Bloods and Crips is cool. Like I got plenty of homeboys that's blood. I got homeboys that's blood that'll shoot you if you try to do something to me.
Right.
Like those are my peoples. And I got homeboys that's Crip because I'm Crip. So we're cool. It's not a situation of more are you Crip or are you blood? It's more what have you done to me?
Right.
And because if you create a problem, then yeah, there'll be a problem. Of course, there's stupid ass Crips out here that be running around saying dumb ass shit and creating beef, and there's Bloods that be doing the same thing. But majority overall in New York, shit is cool until there's a problem. There's a
Now,
problem, then it's gonna go down.
right. Now you say you're a Crip, right? Uh, you're Italian and Puerto Rican,
Yeah, my
and
father's Puerto Rican, my mom's
Puerto
Italian.
Rican. Majority of the Crips are black, right? So here on the West
No,
Coast,
no,
no,
that that
no,
that is a common misconception. Our set, Rolling 30s, which is the third biggest Crip set in California because
yeah,
it's 8 Trey 60s and then Rolling 30s. Our set, which is the third biggest set, was Belizeans. That's South Americans.
right,
That's Hispanics.
right,
So our gang was originally a large amount of Belizeans. And our gang in New York City was always a large amount of Puerto Ricans. So yeah, we have a lot of black guys in our gang, and we might have more black guys than Spanish guys, to tell you the truth. But Hispanics have always been massive in rolling 30s. We've always been a large part of 30s. Now in other sets, it doesn't come down to that. It comes down to where they're from. I mean,
right,
I got Mexican homeboys. So like it doesn't matter. Like I got a white homeboy in Connecticut. I swear to God. This motherfucker got tats everywhere. He got a long beard down to like here, and he from Harlem Crip.
right,
And if you seen this motherfucker, you would think he was Aryan Nation. But he's 100% country white boy. And that motherfucker's a gangster. And he's
right,
from Harlem Crip. He in Connecticut. And I've met homeboys all over the country that you would never expect.
right,
This gangster. I got a homeboy that's a mailman. And he's a Muay Thai fighter. He's a fucking savage. You would never guess it. You'd be like, man, this the mailman. He cool. No, he not.
right, right.
He a gangster. So it's like we've never discriminated
Right.
ever. So especially in New York. And in New York, you see everything. You got white bloods, white Crips, white. You got white gangster disciples.
Right.
So which is a rarer thing even. And yeah, there's no discrimination in the set.
I feel like here on the West Coast, in the CDCR,
Yeah,
I mean, it's you got Mexican, you got white, and you got black, and you got others, and
yeah,
it's strict like that. It don't matter where you're, where you're raised, whatever. It's just divided by race,
yeah.
and there's more race and racism involved in
Yeah,
that.
I hear that a lot, but I also hear the opposite a lot.
Right.
So I don't know if that still goes on or if that's something that used to go on.
Right.
Because when I made the post on it, because I was pissed off about the shit because that's some hoe shit.
Right.
Like if you from the set, like I got the set tatted on me, like I got the sweater, but I got the fucking the TC tat right here on my chest. I got Harlem Crip on my arm, original Harlem Crip on my other arm. Like, and all the homeboys from the set is tatted. So
Right.
imagine if I'm out here putting in pain for the set and doing all this shit for the set, and then I go to prison and the homeboys is like, nah, we not fucking with you, cuz. Like, you over there with the Aryan Nation. Like, I'm gonna go home and shoot all the homeboys.
Right.
Like, dead ass. Like, that's some bitch shit.
Right.
Like, if that's your, cause I got homeboys out west that's Mexican. So you mean to tell me that if he go to jail, like the other homeboys that's in the jail is gonna be like, yo, we not rolling with you? That's crazy. I can't believe that. And when I made the post, a lot of people who been in prison was like, nah, that ain't how it works. Like
Right.
we got black Norteños and black Sureños and like that shit's not. So I think a lot of that is shit that used to go on
Mm,
or that might go on specific yards. But what about somebody like me? Like I'm Puerto Rican and Italian.
right.
I'm not going with the Mexicans.
Mm,
I'm not going with the blacks. I'm not going with the whites. So where I'm going with the others, I'm gonna chill with a bunch of Chinese guys. Like that shit don't
right.
even make sense.
Right.
That don't even make logical sense. But like I said, in New York, we don't have color coded gangs.
Right.
And I'll tell you one thing, like I've been out west multiple times. And I've been in the Fort Trey hood, I've been in the 30s hood, I've been in the I got a homeboy from Broadway, Kool-Aid. Like he a cool motherfucker too. But I was over there. I was I was all over the West. And I talk to homeboys all the time that's in prison. Like my homeboy Debo in prison, Tasha was in prison. So I talked to both of the homeboys and they never told me no shit like that.
Right.
So I don't feel like it's all the prisons in California. It has to be certain prisons or shit that was going on maybe 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
Not at this moment. It'll never go on in New York, I'll tell you that.
Right. It's
You
more
know.
culturized over there on the East Coast.
Yeah,
It's more of a family.
yeah, well, we don't believe in that shit.
Right.
Like I was when I was down south, I was in Coleman Penn, and I had a black dude. He's from Miami, and it was like one of the funniest shits I ever heard in my life. My co-defendant is from Zopound, so I used to be with the Haitians and Jamaicans a lot. So one of the Haitian dudes come up to me because I fuck with the Haitians hard, and he whispers this shit to me. We in the cell. He like, bro, he like, I got this white girl, and I'm like, I think he talking about drugs or something. I'm like, bro, I don't do drugs, bro. Like, he like, no, I got this blonde. Boom. And he's like whispering this shit to me like it's some deadly secret. And I'm like, okay. Like, so? And he's like, yeah. He like, the bros don't know that like I got her, but yeah, I really like her. And I'm sitting here in my mind, I'm like, am I in 1930 all of a sudden? Like, what the fuck is going on? But this is how dudes in Florida feel.
Right.
Like it's crazy, and I seen it, so I can imagine it being like that out west. But in New York, it's like my main homeboy, like his girl white. Nobody
Right.
gives a fuck.
Right.
Nobody cares what color your girl is at. It
Right.
doesn't matter. Nobody gives a fuck. There might be some old man somewhere that cares, but who cares about that old man? So it's like I've never seen it. Like I see black guys with white girls, white guys with black girls, and I'm pretty sure there's a hater somewhere that's gonna say something, but
Right.
I don't see it. I was out west. I fucked a bunch of black girls out west, and I ain't hear nothing from nobody. I went to black girls' parents' houses, and they ain't give a fuck. Like even in Atlanta, like I mean, I like all women.
Yeah.
So like even when I was in Atlanta, like I like black girls, white girls, Spanish girls, Asians. Like I don't give a fuck. Like women are women, and I never had that problem in Atlanta. I never had that problem in no state I've been in. Like I've never experienced that issue against me. But I know black people deal with it in like other areas, like Louisiana and shit like that. Definitely, but
Right.
I thought California was better than that
Mm,
until I start hearing people tell me, and then it's like I'm like, damn. But you know what? California looks old.
yeah.
When you drive through California, it looks old, and that's not no shade. It's just drive through Manhattan and then drive through LA.
Right.
And LA's buildings, the architecture, the structure, it looks outdated. Even the casino, like I went to the casino in Gardenia, that shit was the worst casino I've ever been in my life. Hustler Casino should be shut down. It's like a fucking warehouse with Asians in it miscounting cards. Like you're playing blackjack, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's 21. Oh, it's 20. No, motherfucker, no, it's not. That's 21. It's the worst casino I ever went to in my life. I would never go back there again. I was just bored, and I was in Inglewood at the time, so that shit was kind of close. And
Right.
never again.
Trying to get the dollars up a little bit, huh?
I was just bored. I
Yeah.
didn't care if I lost or anything. It's like I was just bored. The homies was doing something, and they kept yelling at me because I kept going to places I'm not. I guess I'm not supposed to be at.
Right.
But like they got this taco place on Vernon and Hooper, and that shit is the bombest fish tacos. So I used to go over there, and the homegirls was with me. Pig and Ladybug was with me, and they like, "Cuz, you come sit in a car." I'm like, "What the fuck am I sitting in a car for?" They like, "Oh, we in the Hoover hood." I'm like, "I don't give a fuck. I'm trying to get some tacos." Like, the fuck, I don't give a fuck who's over here. Like, and the motherfuckers outside, they looking at me, but I'm kind of big, so I'm like, one of you little motherfuckers say something, put you in a fucking taco. And they ain't say shit to me. Like, and I used to go over there and get tacos, and the homies used to be mad at me. And then I used to go to Caroline's, the soul food spot, and that shit is in the Swan Hood. So they like, yo, I'm like, man, I'm going to get some food. I don't know fuck who's over here. Like, I don't even care about this politics shit that y'all talking about. Like, I used to get every state I go to, I get yelled at. I go to Nashville. The homies is like the homie Chop that was in Nashville. He like, "Cuz, you cannot go over there without telling me where you at." Cause they be worried about me. Cause you know they're responsible for you when you come from out
Right.
of state. And I'm like, I'm going to get some food. Like, I'm not finna sit in here and not eat because
Yeah.
you motherfuckers is over here. I'm not. No, I'm going. And every neighborhood I ever went to, or every state I ever went to, I went wherever the fuck I wanted. I was in Chicago. I see something about Chicago though. I ain't never going to South Side again. I went to the South Side. That shit looked like a zombie apocalypse. I said, I'm out of here. I said, fuck this.
It was
I
all
wasn't
bad
even,
or what?
nah, that shit's bad. Like,
Right.
yo, that shit, I can't even, there's nothing that can describe how run down Chicago is, how bad the Chicago hoods are. Like, you don't even see a cop. Like, that shit just looks crazy. It'll be 70 people on one corner, fiends just wandering around in the streets. Like, that shit's fucked up. But I love Chicago. Chicago got good ass food.
Right.
Good ass
Hey,
food.
hey, Cal, how was it like? How was it like in the inside over there on the East Coast? Did you ever go to Rikers Island? You know anything about it?
Yeah, I went to Rikers.
How
Rikers
was
is,
that?
well, the thing is when you come in, right, I went to C-74, which is adolescence, which is worse. And when you come in C-74, you'll come down these, I was in mile one lower. So you come down these steps, you take a right, the bubble's right there on your right. So then you come into this gigantic dorm. Now, if you go around the bubble, nobody can see you in the bathroom. So there's a whole long bathroom right there. So you caught in the bathroom slipping, motherfucker might kill you. And then the day room is in front of it. They got a day room that's got little chairs in it. Like all the gangs own certain chairs. So I was only there for like 2 weeks. I was waiting to transfer. And they got people called housemen. Like those are the people who been there. They basically run the shit. So it's just violent. Like I done like 4 fights in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
Like it's always somebody trying to take something from you. Always somebody trying to play you. It's just violent all the time. And it's back then, like it was like Bloods were just getting their numbers up. So like Spanish was still pretty dominant at that time. And just because I'm Spanish, like the Spanish people gonna be cool with me. So
Right.
I ain't never get jumped, but I had like four or five fights. I had 5 fights in that bitch.
But you hear about that the Khalif Browder up in Rikers?
The what?
Khalif Browder?
Why do I know that name?
He was up in Rikers Island and he was getting pretty much tortured and just abused and
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Dude got raped with the broomstick, right?
I have no idea probably and then he came out he's like some young dude and he
He
was
killed
innocent.
himself.
Yeah, innocent and then he hung himself.
Yeah, you
Came
know
out
what?
psycho.
That's a sad situation. And a lot of that has to do with the COs not doing their job, and all those
Right.
COs should be fired and sued. I mean, they left the cell door open or some shit like that. Like, that's crazy. But with his situation, I mean, just saying who I am, not to like put no disrespect on the dead or anything like that. I wouldn't have handled that situation like that. I'd have poked all them motherfuckers. Like
Right.
I'd have been doing life. Like with the way they were treating him for no reason, and the way that shit was going on, that was some bully shit. I'd have just got the mop ringer and I'd have waxed one of those motherfuckers in it. They would have died. I'd have
Right.
killed one of them. With the
Right.
way that they was act, nobody's ever like tried to treat me like that. Like that's a horrible thing. And there's nothing you can do if there's 20 guys. But man, I'd have killed one of them motherfuckers. I'd have got one of them. I'd
Right.
have poked one of them in the neck. I'd have killed one of them.
Right. Hey, there's corruption inside the prisons and jails with the COs?
No, no,
No
hell.
corruption?
Listen, corruption among New York State COs in prison is almost non-existent. There
Wow.
is corruption among a few, but you got to understand you're dealing with fucking hillbillies. Most of our prisons are like out in the country. So
Right.
you're dealing with white hillbillies. Like they're not trying to break no laws. They're fake ass cops. Like they want to be cops. Like I'm pretty sure corruption exists, but I've never seen it.
Wow.
I mean, the only person breaking those rules is a cop,
Right.
and they'll kill you. Those cops will beat you to death, and they've done it. There's hundreds of inmates that have been murdered by RCOs. RCOs will beat you to death, like with no issue. Like you hit a CO, they'll break your leg, they'll break your arm, they'll beat you to death, they'll put you in a box for 3 months and then transfer you somewhere way the fuck away from your peoples. Like RCOs are. I've never seen a CO bring drugs in or something like that.
Uh,
Not in New York. Now I'm pretty sure it happens. I'm pretty sure there's somebody somewhere, but you ain't gonna get me here lying and saying I've seen it because I haven't.
right. What was your everyday routine inside?
Well, I worked in mess hall, so I would get up. Well, it depends. Before I got to a jail I could live in, it was punch
Uh,
somebody in the face and go to the box. But
right.
once I got to a jail I could live in, and I went to the mess hall, like I would get up. I work nighttime mess hall, so I would get up, go to the mess hall, do some push-ups, some pull-ups, and dips in the mess hall because we really ain't doing shit. Then I worked in pot room, so I would save the food from pot room, try to sneak it back. It depended because they had this racist CO. His name was Ferris, and all he used to ask where the Germans at. So he hated all Latin Kings. Like what I don't understand what it was, but he hated Latin Kings with a passion.
Was he a black
And
CO?
no, he's a white CO. Black
Oh,
COs,
that
black
German.
COs don't exist, bro.
Nah.
Like the fuck no. Like you might run into maybe towards like Fishkill and shit like that. Like, but the odds of you being way downstate, like I was never way downstate. Like I was in Fishkill, Hudson, Mount McGregor. I combined, I might have 3 months in all those jails together. Like I was rarely in a jail. Like I was usually in like Bear Hill, Franklin. Those are all white cops. Like I never seen a black CO in any of those areas. Even Green, Washington, like those were all white. There's one black cop in Green, and he wanted to be white so bad. It ain't even make no fucking sense. He
Whitewash.
he looks like the black guy from Police Academy, and he wanted to be white so fucking bad. Like he used to literally just abuse black people to make himself feel more white. I guess I don't know what the fuck it was. It was ridiculous. I seen him get punched in the face too. But yeah, the I used to get up, go to the mess hall, cook, work out, clean the pots, try to steal food and bring it back unless Ferris was there because he's gonna pat frisk us. See, in Green, there's the north side and the south side. So you come from the south side, I was on the north side. You got to go through a middle gate. So when you go through the middle gate, that cocksucker Ferris would be right there. And he would search us and take all our food if we had any food on us. And even though the CO who worked in the mess hall let us take the food back, whole catch us on the walkway and take the food from us. Because technically we not supposed to have it, which was some fuckboy shit.
Right.
But that was it. Like, prison's boring.
Right. How did you survive in jail and prison? Just
Like,
fighting?
being violent.
Right.
Being violent first. Like, if you're Crip back then, if you're Crip and you go to a jail where you can't live at, you gotta pop first. Like, just immediately punch somebody in the face. Like, it's funny. I was talking to my homeboy about this shit yesterday because he's a little younger than me, and I was just telling him earlier. I was like, bro, I was like, back in the day, because he was in prison too, like about 10 years ago. So I was like, yo, you really had to come into a jail and be like, what's cracking? And as soon as you hear motherfuckers say what's popping, just snuff them.
Yeah.
Like that's it. You gotta go because here's the thing: if you go to sleep in jail, you're gonna get stabbed or cut or get a hot pot thrown on you, or even worse, they'll catch you on the walkway while you go in the chow and cut your face. And I've seen it happen
Wow.
a lot of times. Like, you'll be walking the chow and you'll just get slashed on the walkway. It happened to one of my homeboys that I know. So while you're walking the chow, motherfuckers will just run up on you 5 deep, cut you, and then run the chow, and you're never even gonna see him. Especially in Green, where it's like a mile to chow. Like, they used to
Wow.
get blood motherfuckers like that all the time. As soon as they come in, they're going to chow. Bam, right on the walkway, cut them in their face. You got to leave now.
How,
Because if
how, right now, yeah, you good. Keep going.
yeah, well, I'm just saying, if you get cut or stabbed in prison, you
Right.
got to go. They're automatically gonna move you.
Right. Now, for those that are like newcomers to jail and prison and all that, um, what are your like from you watching them? Like, how was their lives? In there, being a first time offender.
Well, it depends. Because when I went to prison, you had a lot of tough motherfuckers that was first time offenders, and they didn't give a fuck.
Right.
They was coming in, cutting and stabbing shit and beating shit up. Like, I mean, it ain't about if you're a first time offender. It's about what were you doing in the streets.
Mm,
And the streets have progressively gotten more violent. Yeah, the crime rate might be down, but that's just because there's less people out here, or there's a lot more people in jail. But people now in 2020, these youngins are more violent than my era was. My era was more violent to punch you in the face. Like, they'll shoot the shit out you in this era.
right.
Like, the first thing they do is go get their fucking gun. So I'm at the point like, all right, well, as soon as I think a motherfucker got a gun, I'm just gonna knife him like immediately. Like, I'm not even gonna allow you to pull a gun out. You start arguing with me, and you got a gun on you, and I know you got a gun on you. I'm gonna stab you immediately, right in the fucking throat, because I'm not gonna give you a chance to shoot me. You reach, I'm stabbing you. And the thing is, like, they didn't really have a problem as first time offenders. But you got to understand, we come to a prison in New York State where rape is non-existent.
Mm,
It's extortion and robbery. So it's what you have. If you rich and you come into jail, somebody might rob you.
right.
Try to rob you. Then you're gonna have to fight. Or you'll go to chow and somebody will rob your locker.
Wow.
That's how that
That's
works.
crazy. Yeah, because I interviewed Big Boo Boo Herrera.
Hmm.
He's from East Los Angeles. Now he's in Kansas, and he's still active right now. And he was telling me the same thing about how he's in his 40s right now.
Hmm.
But a lot of the younger folks they're kind of irresponsible.
Oh, they don't care.
Yeah.
They care less. And a lot of it has to do with the fatherless societies, which is them removing fathers from society and placing them in prison for long periods of incarceration, especially with the crack law and the violent crime act and things of that nature, put a lot of fathers in jail. So
Right.
these kids, they grew up without fathers, they grew up with just mothers. And as good as a single mother may be, or as good as single mothers are, you can't raise a man. I don't give a fuck what type of situation you do, because here's the thing: you can raise him,
Right.
but he's gonna find a male influence somewhere, whether it be Michael Jordan, LeBron James, or some drug dealer or pimp on the corner. he's gonna find a male influence somewhere, and you're not gonna be able to control who that male influence is.
Right.
And that's the problem why these youngins are more violent. They don't have a male influence. Like my son, I make sure I'm on my son all the time. Like
Right.
he's not gonna be a gangster. He's not gonna be in no gang. He's not gonna be none of that shit. I don't give a fuck. My son is not joining no gang. Anybody tries to put my son in the gang, I'm gonna shoot him.
Right.
I'm not OG Bobby Johnson. I'm not coming to talk to you to get my son back. I'm gonna clip you.
Right.
And I told my homeboys that. I told my own homeboys that shit. Because one of my homeboys was like, oh, well, what if your son want to be in the set? I said, well, try to put him in and find out.
Right.
Like my son is not gonna be a gang member. He's not gonna be anything like that. I went through all this shit so he don't have to.
Right.
But you gotta
Now,
change the cycle.
right. Right. When you were like in your teens and when you were younger, uh, you mentioned that your mom wasn't involved in your life. Do you think if she was involved in your life and you guys were more like had a stronger unit of a family, do you think your life would have been different? Like, do you think prison and jail would have been prevented and joining a gang would have been prevented?
No,
No.
no. I think that my mother's influence had more to do with hurting my future relationships than it did with actually me being grown into a man or making specific choices. My mother made me not trust women and make it harder for me to have positive relationships until I got older and I was able to get over that and control things myself because your mother becomes the influence for what type of woman you look for when you get older. And with
Right.
my mother not being shit, and then getting her life together and trying to pretend like we just got to forget about all that made me not trust women and made me not look at women in the aspect that I should have until I got older. That's probably why it took me so long to get married.
Right. Well, I mean, it is what it is, though. You still got married, though. Figured out about you figured it out on your own. Unfortunately.
Yeah, but the problem is I figured out about women on my own and it wasn't that bad as a boy having to figure out how to be a man on his own.
Right.
That's a harder experience,
Right.
much
Right.
harder.
Cal. Well, I got a hold of you on TikTok, and you're really successful on TikTok. And I know your YouTube's going up right now. You want to give us a background on your whole TikTok and your YouTube deal?
Yeah, I was making TikToks till I was bored and I really came on it so I could watch my daughter
Right.
because I didn't know who's online. And some dude had my daughter made a video, and some dude was like, "Oh, I like that" or some shit like that. So I looked at dude pictures, and he's like 30 years old now. Mind you, my daughter is 9.
Right.
So I was like, "Bro, one, why are you?" So I messaged him. I said, "Why are you friends with my daughter? Why the fuck are you saying shit like you like? What do you like? Cause you can like these hands, like." Don't be on my daughter page at all. So that made me come on there just so I could watch my daughter. So I used to post a video here and there. I've been on TikTok for like a year. So I used to post videos here and there, but nobody was really paying attention. I mean, I am a world champion power lifter and I do have a lot of things going on as far as in the gym and things like that. But it wasn't really pushing things as much as I wanted to. So maybe about a month ago, I decided I was going to start roasting these motherfuckers that's talking shit, and that got me a ton of views. And I was like, oh, motherfuckers like this. So then I start talking about my personal experiences like prison, gang, street, shit like that. People started liking that. So then I realized, okay, my problem is I'm not allowing myself to be open as an individual to who I am because I'm a very complex individual. Like
Right.
I've been to prison, but I also read 1,000 comics and watched hundreds of anime. I'm in a gang. I've also been shot and stabbed and everything else. So I have all these major experiences. I put out a book. I put out an album. I did all these different things. I got a CDLA. I got a personal trainer degree. So I'm like, damn, I'm just doing a video lifting weights when I could be talking about so much other shit.
Right.
So once I did that, it was like, holy shit, now I got 40,000 followers overnight. Like, how the fuck, how did that even happen?
Right.
But
Do you go for it?
I said it did. Like,
Yeah. So hey, now it's rising as we speak right now. Do you you think you're gonna just run with it and see a future in that? like over social media and like more of an advocate?
Yeah, I like making social media because I mean I don't have an Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. I feel like them things are counterproductive
Uh,
to actually getting things done. I like TikTok because it's more interactive. And the thing is that it's allowing me to teach people bad things in prison so they don't go. Because somebody actually asked me, what about the good times or what was fun in prison? And I told them, I said, listen, there's nothing fun in prison that I want to talk about because I don't want to make this an experience that people think is okay,
right,
that people think is fun. I want to tell you the bad things that happen in prison so that you don't go. It's like gangbanging, like people, oh, well, how do I get down? If you're asking that question, it's not for you.
right,
It's not something you need to be involved in. It's not even something you should be looking towards.
right. You have any crazy stories that happen? Maybe one or two stories that happened in the pen?
Yeah, there's hold on, I just had to check my text real quick.
Yeah, you good?
Yeah, so there's so many crazy things that happen in the pen. It's just like I told a lot of stories on my TikTok and things like that, but I feel like prison is a horrible experience that people shouldn't have to experience. And I was in a box for a long time because I had inciting a riot. So I was in a box for a long time. And people don't understand the mental depression and the insanity that approaches you when you're in a box.
Right.
And you have guys who, like, every time a woman cop will come through, they'll put their dick on the fucking gate. Like every time she comes through. And I mean, this is like a thing that happens in prison a lot. It's called gunning. That's what the ticket is called.
Gunning, yeah,
They'll
I've heard of
they'll
that.
have guys that pull their dick out in front of the CO cop, in front of everybody, and they'll just start jerking off. This is how crazy guys are for women in there. So you'll have, but I mean, some of the COs are just as bad. Like I had a counselor who reached through the food slide and grabbed my dick when I was signing a paper, right while I was in my cell. So I was like, okay, like she's with the shits, but I'm in a box, so this ain't gonna happen. Like,
Right.
but yeah, grab my dick through the slot on purpose, on purpose. So like these things happen. I know guys that were fucking COs. Like I ain't never fucking CO, but I know guys that were like multiple guys, and the craziness of how men act for women in prison. Like any woman CO has had probably 20 gunning tickets that she writes a week,
Wow.
especially in a box. Like motherfuckers would be like, yo, the counselors is coming. Don't look at my cell. Like it's anytime the counselors come through. You had a counselor that'll come through and be like, I want to see the big ones, not the little ones. Or come through the tier like that, like in the box. And me going crazy, like I had time to start talking to myself, start singing songs to myself, like or just doing dumb shit, like popping a sprinkler. Mind you, the sprinkler has like 500 gallons of water in it. So
Right.
I'll pop the sprinkler and flood the whole tier just because I'm bored. So now I know they're coming to beat me up. So I'm not trying to let that. I took the shower curtain. They got a plastic shower curtain. They got this shit called Orange Crush, and it's this gun that shoots this like foam. It's a mace, but it's a foam. So I put the shower curtain on the food slot because they sprayed in the food slot. So I put the shower curtain so when they sprayed the foam, it hit the shower curtain, went back out all over the cops, like the whole like turtle team, the sergeant, everybody out there got maced. Oh, they whooped my ass. They was furious. They came in there, hit me with the electric shield. They got a shield with a shocker at the end of it, shocked me with the shield. They whooped my ass. They came in there, fucked me up, put me in a holding tank where you don't have anything. You gotta wear this stupid ass like cloth gown. They don't give you shit. Had me in there for like 2 days. But I was a terrorist in the box because
Right.
I wanted my way and I'm already in the box and I got so much box time that I'm finna max out.
Right.
I set my bed on fire. I told the sergeant, I said, listen, Sergeant Bullock, he from New Jersey too. So he used to think we was cool because he from Jersey and I'm from New York. But I was trying to hear none of that shit. I was like, listen, bro, if I don't get some commissary, I'ma set this bed on fire. and he already know. And then he gives me a celly who's a terrorist too, my homeboy Montana. So we break the. They had this metal like chair that goes. It kind of goes like this to the table. We broke that shit off and bust the bulletproof window out that's in the cell door in the feds, and then just put the shit out there hanging out the window, right? And call the sergeant, like call the sergeant, bitch. So they call the sergeant. I end up getting commissary and everything in there like 3, 4 times just by being a fucking terrorist.
For
But
free or for free
no,
commissary or
no,
no?
no. You gotta pay for it, but you're not allowed
Okay.
to have commissary in the box. But
Right.
he's like, yo, I'm gonna give you a commissary sheet. You fill it out, and I'll bring you the commissary. Just stop this shit. But the COs do shit too. Like I don't eat pork, so
Right.
my shit says Muslim on my thing, but I'm not Muslim. So I'm like, listen, I don't get no pork trays. So
Right.
when pork comes, they got to give me something else. I had a CO try to force me to eat pork, so I hit that bitch with the tray, with
Right.
the whole fucking pork tray all over that bitch. She tried to call the SWAT team, so I told Bullock, I said, listen, I said this bitch is not giving me my tray. She telling me I'm not eating dinner. You got me fucked up.
Right.
So I had to flood the fucking tier again. Now, when you flood the tier, the water comes under the door and goes all the way downstairs because there's 3 floors to the box, 2 floors to the box, but they got like a little basement floor, but that shit don't matter. So he put me in the basement cells because I was flooding so much that he was just like, motherfucker, you not finna do this. And then the SEALs got to come down and clean it, and that shit take like 3, 4 hours. So yeah, they don't like that shit.
That's wild. I was about to ask you, Cal, because I've noticed that you have the cap on all the time, and you got the beard. Are you religious, Muslim, right? Or no?
No, 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 I'm not. This is actually a biker skull cap. If you
Oh
look,
yeah,
I don't know if you can see the back. Hold on. This shit caught on my thing. A lot of people ask me that question, and it's kind of annoying. You see the back?
yeah. Oh, I got you. Yeah, it's a tie
It's
on the back.
yeah, it's not a do rag. It's what's called a biker skull cap. So I've always worn one of these. I ride motorcycles too, so I've always worn one of these. It's not a do rag.
Right.
Like it might look, and it's not a kufi. Like motherfuckers think it's a kufi. They think it's a do rag. Like this is a skull cap. Like I ride bikes. Like I look like a biker anyway. So that's what
you
I
got
do.
you ride Harleys and stuff, or just street bikes?
I ride street bikes. I got
Street
a I
bikes.
got a Ninja right now. I'm thinking about getting a Harley just because I'm old and I need
They're
something that's a
clean.
little bit more comfortable.
Right.
And with the street bikes, like yeah, they're faster, but they're not
Dangerous.
comfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with all the bikers anyway, so I don't
Right.
got no issues with that.
Right. Hey, Cal, you got any words for those that are struggling at home or in and out of prison at a young age? Any advice for those?
Yeah, I mean, don't do crime. I mean, get a job, go to school. But if you're gonna do crime, if that's all you have, do it intelligently. I mean, don't go rob the fucking corner store. That's fucking stupid. Like, don't go to prison unless you have to. Like, you got guys out here going to prison for nothing. Like, my homeboy got an open case right now for he ain't guilty, but they're saying he's guilty. They said he shot his neighbor house up. So if he gets convicted of that shit, he finna go to prison.
Uh,
So you got a lot of guys out here that are doing shit like that.
right.
That are doing like you got guys that'll wake up and they'll just go outside and shoot some shit. It's like I'm arguing with this stupid idiot on TikTok now, right? And he keeps messaging me, "Oh, I'm on my way to your city. I'm gonna do this." So, I mean, you pull up to my city, I'm gonna kill you. Like, and I'm gonna beat the case because it's self defense. So
Right.
I don't know what you think is gonna happen, but you're gonna fucking die. So
Right.
it's like you got stupid motherfuckers doing stupid shit, but it's like they say you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes.
Right.
So you got a lot of dumb motherfuckers going to jail for doing dumb motherfucker shit. So my advice to everybody is stop being stupid. Like stop doing shit to be seen. Stop doing shit like that you're not making any money off of. You got guys out here that are robbing the corner store. Like, why are you robbing a corner store for $200 when you're gonna get 10 years for that? Like, why are you robbing poor people in your own community? Like, you have people run around the community snatching purses.
Right.
You're gonna get a robbery for that. Motherfuckers shooting people for no reason. Oh, he was looking at me, or he stepped on my sneakers, or that's sucker shit. Now you're gonna be in prison for 10 years for nothing. Like those type of people deserve to be in prison. But it's like you need to go get a job. Like a lot of dudes is in the street and the street's not for them.
Right.
They're just out here because they homeboy or they brother or they cousin or somebody else. Just my best advice for people is if you ain't got business somewhere, don't be there.
Right. That's
That's the best
facts.
advice I can give.
That's facts. Hey Cal, I got one more question for you before you go. I don't want to keep you too long. It's almost an hour,
Okay.
and I know you're in your car. You probably got the some butt aches. Uh, do you think the criminal justice system is corrupt by giving offenders excessive amount of time
Um,
for petty crimes?
yeah, I
And
mean,
do you feel that some races are targeted more than others?
yeah, I don't even know why this is an argument, but I understand it because I hear this argument a lot. But black people get more time, and people get too much time for bullshit petty offenses. I mean, these are statistical facts. The only idiots that make this a topic and argue this are racist white people, and they're looking for an excuse why they should hate on black people or why black people are below them. So their excuse is, well, black people do more crime. Well, black people are in prison. Well, black people are in a situation that you created with Jim Crow and segregation and slavery and all these millions of other things that just dropped down and had an effect on generational wealth and the building of communities. When you were redlining people and forcing people making money to live among poverty and not able to buy buildings that are worth any value, then you create this society. So this society created by the US government to keep people of color under oppression. And
Absolutely
there's a
right.
reason why the criminal justice system is that way because it's built to do the same thing.
Right. Yep.
And
Hmm.
it's not going to change until we get better leadership. I mean, we had Trump, our Biden and Harris. Harris is a fucking cop. Biden is a cop. Trump openly supports racism. So where is the choice here?
Yeah. There is
Like,
no
who are we
choice.
picking? You know, Biden passed a law that says that if a cop is on duty and commits a crime, he can't be charged with that crime.
I didn't know that.
You better Google it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he passed a law that police officers in the commission of duty who commit crimes cannot be charged with those crimes. That is the most pro police law I've ever heard of in my whole life. And we already know Harris is a fucking cop.
Yeah.
But they were the better choice than Trump.
Right.
So, yeah, we need to get better people in office. We need to vote. We need to get better people that are going to do things in our community. And there's cops that want to do better.
Right.
But
Yeah.
we're in a situation where we're not even allowing the right people to get in
Right.
because we're so confused by all the things that have happened throughout time to put people of color in this position.
Right.
And even though I'm lighter, my father's still brown.
But you've been brought up in that culture, so I mean, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter
yeah.
what skin color you are.
I'm from New York, so it's
Right.
different.
Right.
That's a fact.
All right, Cal. It was an honor, interviewing and sit down with you. I was pumped about this one. This is the longest one yet. You did really good. You did really well with the interview. You're a dope dude. I'm glad I got the privilege to meet you more. Sit down with you because I know you got a lot of followers and stuff, and they want to know more about you.
That's a
Um,
fact.
so, do you want me to drop your TikTok and your YouTube in here
Yeah,
as well?
yeah. You can do that. I actually, I appreciate the interview because it's going to bring more people to my platforms,
Right.
and hopefully, I could help somebody do better. And if the trolls come, I'm good with that because I'll roast the fuck out of them.
Hey,
That's a
I'm there. I'm on your TikTok every day, bro. Every
that's.
day I'm watching it. I'm watching it.
I appreciate it, brother.
I
You have a nice
appreciate you,
night.
Cal. All right, see you. Peace. Be safe.